Hello, anybody, and thanks for tuning in to Monday Morning Handicapping. This is another look at another 2025 Kentucky Derby prospect. This horse is named Uncle Jim, who's sired or fathered by a horse named City of Light, whose dam or mother was a horse named Now Now, whose dam sire or the father of the mother, so the grandfather on the mother's side of this horse, was a horse named Tiz Now. Uncle Jim is trained by Brad Cox and is ridden by jockey Jose Lezcano. Taking a look at the pedigree, the sire, again, a horse named City of Light, had 11 career starts, 6 wins, 4 seconds, and a third, earned $5.6 million in its career. Routes, so a race of a mile or greater. He ran 4 of those, 3 wins and a third. In the Grade 1 level of racing, which is what the Kentucky Derby will be, he ran 6 Grade 1 races, 4 wins, a second, and a third. So all 3 of his Grade 1 races, he hit the board. Going a mile and a quarter, this horse tried it once. The mile and a quarter, of course, is a Kentucky Derby distance, and City of Light finished third. City of Light has wins at 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, 1 mile, and a mile and an eighth, so this horse is somewhat versatile. This horse was a speedy type, liked to be in the lead or stalking just behind the leaders, so this horse was generally up front near the lead, definitely had some speed. And City of Light is also the sire of a horse named Fierceness, who many of you may recall was last year's Kentucky Derby favorite. Fierceness has 9 career races, 5 wins, a second, and a third, has earned $3.8 million in its career thus far, and was third place for 2024's Horse of the Year nominations. The dam of Uncle Jim, a horse named Now Now, only raced twice, wasn't first, second, or third. I think actually ran 6 both times. Only $400 in career earnings, so this horse obviously was not cut out to be a racehorse, or they at least just stopped racing this horse to put it out to the breeding shed. However, the dam sire was a horse named Tiz Now, who had 15 career starts, 8 wins, 4 seconds, 2 thirds, $6.4 million in career earnings, was Horse of the Year in 2000, champion 3-year-old colt in 2000, champion older horse in 2001, ran 14 routes, 8 wins, 4 seconds, 2 thirds. All those races, Tiz Now finished in the top 3. Going a distance of a mile and a quarter, this horse tried it 5 times, won 4 times, ran second once. So really seems to like routes as well as the mile and a quarter distance, which hopefully some of that ability is passed on through the mother, even though the mother wasn't a tremendous racehorse by any means. And this horse also had a near front stalking type. As of now, January 29th, 2025, looking at Uncle Jim. Uncle Jim is currently 50-1 odds to win the 2025 Kentucky Derby, according to HorseRacingNation.com. This horse currently has 0 Kentucky Derby points, but is entered in this Saturday's mile and an eighth Wither Stakes at Aqueduct. So I wanted to talk about this horse because if this horse performs really well in this race, those 50-1 odds are probably going to be cut down, and this horse will have earned some Derby points. Uncle Jim thus far has raced 2 times, 1 win, and a third place with $68,000 in career earnings. So why Uncle Jim? A while ago, I was listening to a podcast, and one of the podcasters, when this horse broke its maiden, was really touting this horse and was excited about this horse as a futures bet after its debut. Granted, it was 50-1 odds. The podcaster really liked those odds for this horse at the time. Still a bit of a long shot. Also, after that, I asked a group of friends if anyone had an Uncle Jim that might like a futures bet for the Kentucky Derby as a small gift of any amount. So this is the fun side of horse racing. One of my friends actually does have an uncle named Jim, and he is a little bit curious about this horse, and if I think it's worth a $5 or $10 futures bet, he might buy the futures bet for his uncle for $10 and just give his uncle some rooting interest. I don't think his uncle's into horse racing, so it's also a good way to introduce someone to the sport, at least get their eyeballs on it. And if the horse wins, it's going to be very exciting for that uncle, and I just think a great way to introduce someone to the game. So if anyone watching has an Uncle Jim out there and you're convinced by this video this horse might be worth 50-1, you might want to take a stab before the Wither Stakes on Saturday. But this is just all why I chose to do this video on Uncle Jim. So again, get your futures bet in early, because if Uncle Jim wins impressively on Saturday, then his odds will be cut down. But like I always say, don't wager any money that you can't afford to lose. Keep it fun. Don't expect to win. But if it's something you might be interested in, by all means. So taking a look at Uncle Jim's debut race was on October 17, 2024 at Keeneland Racetrack. We'll go over some notes and then watch the replay and then talk about some of the finishers in that race. So this race on debut was 7 furlongs on the dirt track, a fast dirt track, so no moisture in the ground. It was dry at Keeneland. Uncle Jim wins on debut by 3 lengths as the even money favorite in a field of 11. So quite a big field, but this horse was expected to win and did just that pretty easily in the end. This horse broke slightly inward from post number 3 of 11, settles down near the rail in 8th place by about 4.5 lengths early on in the race. Did not seem to be affected by any kickback. Again, that's that dirt being kicked up and in the face of your horse. This horse was behind other runners, and that dirt being kicked back just did not seem to affect Uncle Jim. Ran into a little traffic halfway around the turn, waited and ran between horses entering the stretch, went on to win by 3 lengths with a favorable pace scenario. So the horses up front that were longer odds were running a little bit quick early, so it was likely that they were going to tire out. They did. Uncle Jim took advantage. You can't knock Uncle Jim for that, but it's nice to see he performed as you would hope in a scenario like that. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the race. So our horse is number 3. We'll take a look at the head-on after we watch from this angle, but the horse broke in slightly. He's right here in the kind of turquoise silks on the jockey. Just settling down, not being asked to pick up the speed too much early. Try to keep my cursor near it, but follow the turquoise jockey. So not much going on. I mean, the pace is a little honest up front. This horse is even money, so expected to win. Right here, probably getting some kickback, and the horse isn't throwing its head or slowing down really. The jockey seems to be standing up, so not asking the horse to pick it up too much. This horse is backing up into Uncle Jim, so again, getting some of that kickback. And this is where he runs into a little traffic. Needs to find a lane or an opening to run through. Nowhere to go as of yet. It's getting a little tight, so running in between horses. The horse is still running fine. Gets an opening down near the rail. Jockey's really starting to ask. Out comes the whip. The whip does not seem to bother the horse at all. And just chugs along on the rail. Passes this tired front runner. No one really closing with any threat. And Uncle Jim goes on to win pretty easily in the end. So now let's take a look at the start of the race. So watch our horse here just kind of cut in, veers in down towards the left. It's not ideal, especially when it comes to the Kentucky Derby. 20 horse fields, you don't want to be bumping. You want to get out clean, especially a horse that's going to be mid-pack. The cleaner you can get out, the less you have a chance of getting really far shuffled back. So this was debut, so I would forgive the horse, but you just kind of want to see the horse break straight and quick. So taking a look at the other horses in this race, the second place finisher has 3 starts, only a second, no firsts or thirds. Of course, the second place finishing was the race we just watched. The third place finisher has had 5 races, a second and a third. Fourth place finisher has 5 starts, no first, seconds, or thirds. And the fifth place finisher was making its debut as well and did not finish first, second, or third. The most recent race is an allowance optional claimer that took place on December 6, 2024 at Aqueduct Racetrack in New York. It's a 1 mile race on the dirt, a fast dirt track at Aqueduct. It's a 1-turn mile just based on the configuration at Aqueduct. Many places a mile race is around 2 turns, but at Aqueduct it's a 1-turn mile, a long backstretch run, and then 1 turn into the stretch to the finish line. This horse is moving up in class, but not to the graded stakes level, so up in class, but well below the grade 1 level that the Kentucky Derby will be, so a gradual step up. Again, this horse breaks slightly inward from post position number 5 of 5, settled in second place by a length and a half, chased the 1-4 odds lone leader. Again, chasing a lone leader is one of the harder things a racehorse can do because that lone leader can really be comfortable, sort of set its own comfortable fractions, and have enough stamina late in the race to finish the job. So chasing especially a well-backed lone leader like this horse was, 1-4 odds, so well below even money. The fact that this horse was chasing that lone leader, I can kind of forgive Uncle Jim for not passing this well-backed horse. Uncle Jim got within a length of the leader in mid-turn, dove in toward the rail in the stretch. The race was run faster at a longer distance than its debut race, and Uncle Jim ran on well for third place by 3.5 lengths. So let's take a look at the race. So our horse is actually the number 1. It was part of a coupled entry. And in New York, a friend was telling me, if you're part of a coupled entry, meaning 2 horses with the same number, trained by the same guy, if one of them scratches, you are no longer eligible to be wagered on. Just an interesting rule, but you will not see Uncle Jim down below when it shows the runners, as you can see here. So here's our 1 chasing this lone leader who's well backed. Again, 1-4 odds. And if you look at the top right, you can see the configuration of the 1-turn mile. Long run in the backstretch, wraps around. So here, this horse seems content just to sit off this lone leader. However, that does give the lone leader quite an advantage. Probably about 2 lengths back at this point. Jockey's not urging, so when he does, we'll see how the horse responds. Now you can see Uncle Jim is gaining in the turn. Gets up to about a half length, I would say, coming up here. The jockey on the lone leader is not even asking the horse to pick it up, so this horse probably still has something left in the tank. Now the jockey on Uncle Jim is asking him to pick it up, and as you can see, he'll dive in towards the rail, entering the stretch. Was on the outside of the leader, now ducks down to the inside. Something this horse will definitely want to figure out before the Kentucky Derby. So the Saturday race is going to be quite informative on how much this horse has progressed since this race. And the jockey's still trying, battling for second, but is going to get past and ends up finishing third. But the leading horse did not just blow this horse away, so that's a little vote of confidence, I guess, moving forward. And this horse is only its second career start. And if you see here, doing pretty well on the gallop outs, keeping up with the leader. Horse seems like it maybe still has some energy left in the tank. So, yeah, a lot to like, a lot to dislike in this race. So, curious to see how Uncle Jim's going to race on Saturday. But let's look at that head-on replay where the horse broke inward yet again. Again, our horse is going to be on the outside, although it is horse number 1. And look, just breaks in, cuts off that horse right there. So 2 races and 2 times it broke inward out of the gate. Not drastically, but definitely a path or so. So definitely something that hopefully the trainer can figure out and get this horse on a straight path out of the gate. So looking at the other runners in that race, the first place finisher has 7 starts, 3 wins, and a second. The horse was named Cyclone State, and Cyclone State came back to win after that race we just watched, the Jerome Stakes wire to wire at the same track at odds of 3-1. So it was not the favorite in that race, was a stakes race, so stepped up in class and won at odds of 3-1, and it was the 3rd win in a row for this horse. So this horse is just going very well at the moment. So for Uncle Jim to lose to a horse that's just really sharp kind of makes me feel better about the 3rd place finish, especially in the style that it was run, where Cyclone State just won wire to wire without any real pressure. The 2nd place finisher, 4 starts, a win, a second, and a third. Our horse ran 3rd, so we'll look at the 4th place finisher, 6 starts, a win, a second, and a third. And the 5th place finisher, 7 starts, a win, and a third. So taking a look at the positive and negatives I've surmised from Uncle Jim. Positives, this horse is lightly raced, only 2 career starts, so should be a fresh horse, not overly worked at this point in time. Plenty of room for improvement and maturation. Ran through traffic and passed horses on debut, albeit it was somewhat of a weak field. The ability to do that is nice to see. Interesting running style for the Kentucky Derby. This horse so far seems like it wants to be mid-pack, maybe stalking the leaders, and then make one good run for the lead. So as long as this horse can avoid traffic, this horse looks like it's going to put in a run. Will it be enough? That's yet to be determined. I think the Saturday race is going to be very telling. So if you're interested in this horse, I would put your futures bet in now, because if it does run well, again, you're going to get decreased odds. I'm personally not going to be placing that wager, but definitely interested in seeing how this horse performs on Saturday. This horse is trained by a top trainer, Brad Cox, who wins at about 26% as of last year. This horse does not appear to hate kickback, and with this horse's running style, I would expect it's going to be getting some kickback in a 20-horse field that is the Kentucky Derby. The Equibase speed figure improved 5 points from Uncle Jim's debut race at 7 furlongs to his second race going a mile, so that just tells me the horse did improve a little bit. The sire and dam sire were very talented runners going a route of ground, so Pedigree is on this horse's side. The mile and an 8th race on Saturday will tell us a lot more about this horse, and this race will be going around 2 turns, such as the Kentucky Derby, so a lot to glean from this race on Saturday. I will admit I'm very excited to see how this horse performs. I haven't taken a look at the race yet. I don't know what the pace scenario is going to look like, but I'm hoping to do a race forecast video on the race when I see it. Some of the negatives from this horse: has broken slightly inward in both starts. The horse may have a tendency to dive down toward the rail in the stretch. We saw that in the second race, where entering the stretch, it just veered down towards the rail. Even in its first race, it was already near the rail, but by the time it finished the race, it was on the rail. I don't know if that was just where the opening was, or the horse kind of dove down on its own, but certainly seemed to dive down towards the rail in its second race, and you definitely want to be running straight when you enter the stretch. So would like to see the horse run perfectly straight in the stretch on Saturday. This horse has not beaten anyone of note as of now. Again, it did race against Cyclone State, who's a good horse, but our horse was well behind that horse, and our horse has not finished the race in front of anyone of note at this point. Again, Saturday will tell us a lot. And the dam did not race well in only 2 career starts. It does have that good pedigree, being out of Tis Now, but the dam itself was not much of a racehorse. That's pretty much it for Uncle Jim for now. Again, looking forward to that Saturday race. Really appreciate everybody watching. Feedback is appreciated, so leave that in the comments, or I don't know if my email address is available on this. Would appreciate any likes, subscribes, or sharing with friends, especially any of your friends that are new to the racing scene or might be curious. I have some playlists for interested newcomers. I have How to Read a Racing Form, where I break down all the components of the racing form, talk about what it's telling you, the information it conveys, how to read it, and all that. And I also have one called Betting on Horse Racing, where I break down all the basic bets, talk about what they are, how to place them, how much they cost, and things that I look for when I'm placing such bets. So, again, thanks again for watching. Looking forward to Uncle Jim's race on Saturday. Appreciate all the comments I've gotten so far, and thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.